I'll be discussing Chapter 10 International Insurance. International insurance includes perils of international shipments, risk management, insurance policies, Lloyd's, and commercial credit insurance. International insurance. There are many pitfalls in international insurance. Many of the risks are misunderstood. While historically, most shippers located near seaports, today most are located inland and have no idea what dangers international shipments face. The complexity of the field is substantial. Not only is there a minimum of 6 different standard insurance policies, but there are also countless variations in the specific clauses that can be included or excluded. The vocabulary used is unique, with several terms have completely different meaning than in everyday language. It is important to learn some insurance vocabulary. The problems are compounded by the fact that the Incoterms rules are somewhat misleading, although both the CIF, Cost Insurance and Pride, and CIP, Carriage and Insurance Paid, mention insurance. They refer to the most basic coverage available, which is inadequate for many goods. Also, the carriers offer very limited coverage. Under the various international liability convention, carriers offer very basic coverage with very low limits and are exempt of liability in many cases. So it is important for us to carefully determine what kind of insurance we have, and also we need to know the details, the comprehensive details behind the insurance, because if something happened to our shipment, we don't know what we should do, specifically if talagang nasira yung shipment nyo, or maaring uh, naligaw yung shipment mo and you cannot deliver it to your customer on time. So what do you need to do? So can you process insurance in order for you to cover the payment na kailangan bayaran since hindi mo na-deliver on time, or the penalty that you need to pay the importer, and other things related to payment with regards to insurance. International Insurance Glossary. A risk is the chance or the probability of a loss. Several types of risk exist, such as speculative risk, the chance or probability of a loss or a gain, not insurable. Pure risk, the chance or probability of a loss, which is insurable. Objective risk, the actual probability of loss determined from actuarial data. Subjective risk, the perceived probability of a loss by individual or company. So insurance policies cover specific perils and the premiums are based on hazard of a particular shipment. Peril, the event that brings about a loss, for example, theft, fire, or piracy. Hazard, a situation that increases the probability of peril and therefore a loss. Certain regions of the world are more hazardous than others. Marine cargo insurance policies are unusual vocabulary specific to the types of perils that a cargo faces in an international voyage. General average, a loss incurred on an ocean voyage that is general in the sense that it involves all the cargo owners on board. If the captain of the ship saves a portion of the cargo by unloading some of the cargo at the sea, it is also a general average. Specifically, if you really need to, ano ba yun, na tanggalan yung ibang shipments, maybe during the unexpected typhoon, or biglang may mangyayari dun sa mismong ship na you need to unload several containers or shipments. Particular average, a particular loss incurred by a cargo owner on an ocean voyage. Other types of perils of an international voyage: jettison, the act of throwing overboard part of the cargo of a ship or the fuel of an airplane in attempt to lighten the ship. Yun nga, mamaya biglang meron palang typhoon or things that you didn't predict na mangyayari. So sometimes, you need to decide na kailangan mong tanggalin yung ibang shipment on your ship, di ba? Kasi kailangan mong maging magaang yung barko mo or else lahat kayo lulubog. Barat 3, an act of disobedience or willful misconduct by the captain or the crew of the ship that causes damage to the ship or the cargo. So, maybe negligence or other factors na nakaka-affect doon sa shipment mo. Perils of the sea. Cargo at the sea can be damaged by a number of perils. Cargo movement, water damage, fire, sinking, and stranding, piracy, theft, collision, and several more. Okay? So, basically, medyo maraming risk associated with the sea cargo or transportation using the sea kasi we don't know and it's very unpredictable ano ba yung current situation ng sea. Diba? Sometimes merong biglang typhoon or mamaya biglang na pirate yung yung ship and etc. Cargo movement. Cargo can be damaged by careless handling while being loaded and unloaded. Okay? So it is an common thing na nangyayari. So like this, medyo may nagkaroon ng dent yung container and it might cause some leaks na 'di ba pwedeng or hole na then pwedeng pumasok yung water inside the container and contaminate yung yung laman ng container. Ship movement, 'di ba? A ship by ocean is subjected to numerous ship movements na hindi natin ma-predict because of the waves, because of the winds. Wave damage, ayan. In stormy seas, waves pound the ships and can damage the containers on board and might cause some damage of the things or products inside the containers. Water damage. As ships encounter stormy seas, waves wash overboard and can slowly infiltrate the containers or cargo on board. Containers are tied down but the lash bars can fail, causing containers tow to collapse. So, pwede mangyari yan. Nakikita nyo sa picture na mahulog yung mga shipment nyo to the sea due to unforeseen events. Fire. Dangerous cargo can only travel internationally by ocean and ships' ability to fight fires is limited since limited din naman yung number ng crew members inside the ship on board, diba? Stranding. Ships can get stranded when their machinery breaks down. Sinking. Ship can be damaged by rough seas and sink. Piracy. Ships can be attacked by pirates. Here, the ransom is dropped onto the Cyrus Star. Kasi yun nga, na-pirate sila. So, naghingi na ransom para pakawalan yung members ng ship. Yung crew ng ship, I mean. Ships are far from maneuverable. Sometimes collision happen and cargo is delayed or damaged. Theft is much greater risk on shore, specifically in transit to the port of departure and from the port of arrival, but it is a significant concern. Pilferage, unplanned theft based upon the opportunity to steal cargo. Organized theft, deliberately and carefully planned theft of cargo or container. So may mga sindikato rin dyan. Systems theft, the use of technology to access the files of a particular shipment and steal it, the way the theft may not be detected for a few days. Other perils of the sea, ocean cargoes are exposed to a number of other perils, other cargo contaminating or affecting the cargo, stowaway damaging the cargo, a government seizing or arresting the ship, the owners of the ship declaring bankruptcy, the port shutting down because of a strike, weather delaying loading or unloading of the cargo, and more. General average. The concept of general average is unique to marine insurance. If there is a major loss during a voyage, the costs are shared by the owner of the ship and all of the cargo owners, including the owners of the goods that were not damaged. In other words, if 25% of the containers of a ship and the ship are damaged in fire, the owners of the undamaged container, 75% of the cargo, are held financially responsible for the losses of 25% and to the ship owner. The concept is that all parties have a vested interest in successful voyage and therefore they are all share the same risk. Of air shipments, although there are generally fewer perils in air transportation, since we all know that the most safest transportation in the world is through air. That in ocean transportation, goods are still exposed to many of the same risks. Cargo handling before loading and after being unloaded, cargo movement, significant acceleration and deceleration, as well as turbulence pumps during the flight, since most of the fragile cargo might be affected during the turbulence. Theft and pilferage, especially since high-value goods are often shipped by air. So, malaki rin yung chance na mangyari yun. Water damage, cargo can be left on the tarmac exposed to other elements such as water or any liquid materials. However, there are risks specific to air shipments. There are two risks specific to air shipments: changes in temperature, cargo en route from tropical area like Singapore to another warm area. Los Angeles may transit at an airport such as Anchorage, which is we all know that it's in Alaska na malamig yung temperature, exposing the goods to potentially very cold temperatures even though the shipper did not expect them to be. So mamaya magkaroon ng moisture yung shipment and might cause several problems to the shipment. Changes in atmospheric pressure. Cargo may be placed in an aircraft that only partially pressurized or may not be pressurized at all, which is less likely. Risk management. A company involved in international trade can manage its exposure to international transportation risks in one of the three ways: retain the risk, transfer the risk to an insurance company, and adopt a mixed approach. The difficulty in determining the proper strategy is the correct assessment of the risk of a particular shipment. Risk retention. Some companies decide that it is more economical to not purchase insurance for international transportation risk. They are very large international traders with many shipments. Their insurance premium would be higher than the expected value of their losses. So, parang useless din na kumuha sila ng insurance. Exporters or importers with little exposure, they are shipping or buying goods of such little value in such small shipments that a loss would have few financial consequence. So, hindi masyado nakakapekto sa mismong kita nila. Exporters or importers that have little relative exposure because international transaction represents such a small percentage of their business. Firms that do not evaluate their international transportation risk clearly. So, yun nga, hindi nila masyadong pinagtutuunan ng pansin yung risk ng international transportation nila. Maybe because naging okay naman yung mga past na shipments nila, so they doesn't care. And sometimes yung iba na mas malaki pa kasi magiging bayad nila sa insurance rather than doon sa value ng shipment nila. Transfer. Some firms decide it is best to transfer their international transportation risk to an insurance company. In exchange for a premium, these firms are covered against their losses. Firms with high exposure, the value of the goods they ship is high, and the loss of some of these shipments would be a substantial financial blow to their operations. Firms with high relative exposure, even though the amounts at stake may be small, they are relatively high for these firms as percentage of their sales. Firms that lack experience in international trade, they insure because they are uncomfortable with the risks involved, or unable to properly assess their exposure. So, bale, kung masyadong mahal yung produktong siniship mo, malaki yung uh, mawawala sa'yo if may something happen to the shipments or you don't have that enough knowledge about the international trade, specifically about insurance or about the accounting approach. A firm can use mixed approach, retaining some of the risk and transferring the rest. This strategy can be achieved in two different ways. The decision is made based upon the maximum amount of exposure that a firm is willing to risk. This objective is traditionally achieved with the use of deductible or a franchise. The decision is made based on the types of risk that the firm is willing to take and knows that it would rather transfer to an insurance company. Marine cargo policies. There are two possible ways to purchase marine cargo policy. Open cargo policy, an insurance contract with which a firm insures every international shipment it makes for a fixed period of time. Such a policy is formally known as an open ocean cargo policy, and it automatically covers all shipment of the insured depending on the time period that you have agreed with. Special cargo policy, an insurance contract valid for one specific shipment, so only one shipment. Marine cargo insurance can be purchased from two sources. An insurance agent who can assist the firm in obtaining the most appropriate coverage given its product mix and its risk management strategy as such. Agents sell most open ocean cargo policies. A freight forwarder who can provide generic coverage for a given shipment almost immediately as such. Freight forwarders sell a lot of special cargo policies. There are two major groups of policies that can be purchased in order to protect cargo during an ocean or air shipment. The first group is governed by the British law and was completely rewritten in 1982 and modified further in 2009. This group of insurance policies seems to have become a standard for many countries. They are known as the Institute Marine Cargo Clauses policies, coverage A, B, or C that I have mentioned last time. The second group is older, with some antiquated clauses and more modern ones, and is mostly written by US-based insurance companies. These traditional policies are known as all risk, general average, and free or particular average policies. Coverage exclusion. Regardless of the coverage purchase, insurance policies will not cover the following risks. Improper packaging. So, pagkapangat yung proper packaging nyo, hindi nila yon i-cover. Damage caused by packaging insufficient for international ocean or air voyage. So, basically, tine-check yung mga packaging ng produkto nyo bago nyo i-load yun. Inherent vice, damage caused by an ordinary natural change in the goods, wood warping, steel rusting, and so on that naturally happens for that specific product, di ba? Na, yun nga, pwedeng mag-evaporate yung chemical mo due to the time, di ba? Yun nga, yung steel, kasi naturally nagra-rust yung steel. Ordinary leakage, decrease in weight due to evaporation, ordinary wear and tear, miles on vehicle transported, unseaworthy vessel, since hindi maganda yung kinuha mong marine transportation or yung vessel, nuclear war. So, hindi rin siya covered ng insurance. Institute Cargo Clauses, Coverage A. So, ito yung Coverage A. Coverage A is an all-risk policy in that it covers all risk of loss or damage to subject matter insured, except for some risks that are specifically excluded, such as war, seizure of the cargo, or ship by a government, or a strike and civil disturbances. A policy written with coverage A of the Institute Marine Cargo Clauses is identical in all countries. So basically, all countries, same yung pagkakasulat with regards to coverage A or isa lang yung sinusunod natin doon. Coverage A is the maximum coverage that an exporter or an importer would need to purchase in the case of a shipment traveling on most trade lanes in the world. So basically, standardized naman to. Coverage B. Coverage B is the name perils policy as it lists specifically the risk that it will cover. The list of covered perils includes fire, stranding, sinking, collision, jettison, washing overboard, water damage, and total losses during loading and unloading. However, losses due to bad weather are not covered. So, hindi covered ang bad weather. And neither are partial losses happening during unloading and unloading of the ship, theft, condensation, and improper stowing by the carrier. Coverage B is the best for goods that have a good tolerance for bad weather, such as bulk raw materials including coal, iron ore, polymer pellets, and lumber na hindi masyadong nasisira. Okay? So, hindi siya masyadong fragile. Coverage C is also named perils policy. The list of covered perils is limited to fire, stranding, sinking, collision, and jettison. It does not include washing overboard, rough weather damage, or water damages, and losses during loading and unloading. Coverage C is the minimum coverage required by the Incoterms CIF and CIP. It is insufficient for most containerized goods, with the possible exceptions of goods that are unlikely to be affected by international voyage in any way, and if lost overboard would not be a major loss. There are very few cargoes that fit this description. All risk policy, an all risk policy, an older but still very commonly used, particularly in the United States, type of policy. All risk policies are not standardized, unlike coverage A. Under all risk policies, all risks are covered except those specifically excluded. For example, an all risk policies often exclude the risk of war. All risk policies can be written with US or British clauses, and coverage is different based upon that determination. For United States, all risk policy to be enforceable, the goods have to be shipped under the deck. Finally, all risk policies are written in non-contemporary English terms, which makes them difficult to comprehend, specifically for not native English speaker. With average policies. A with average policy is a named perils policy. Only those perils that are listed in the policy are covered and no other. These types of policy covers fewer perils than all risk policy, but a few more than the coverage B policy. Traditionally, a with average policy excludes condensation damage to the goods, theft, improper stowage by the carrier, leakage and breakage, but covers heavy seas and damage occurring while loading and unloading. With average policies vary substantially, and therefore great care should be taken in making sure a specific peril is covered. They are written in non-contemporary English and include clauses that are either US or British clauses. Free or particular average policies. Free or particular average policies are named perils policies that cover total losses but only cover partial losses in some circumstances. A free or particular average policy would cover partial losses if they result directly from fire, a stranding, a sinking, or a collision, obviously an American version, or if they occur on the same voyage, that a fire, a stranding, a sinking, and collision occurs without these perils having directly caused the loss, which is in English version. Pre or particular average policies cover fewer perils than with average policies, such as damage to the goods while loading and unloading. They are not appropriate for most goods. Marine cargo clauses. Some clauses will always be included in a maritime insurance cargo policies. Here are some of them. General average. The insurer will cover the general average responsibilities of the shipper toward the ship owner and the cargo owners. Constructive total loss coverage. The insurer will reimburse the shipper for goods that have been abandoned after a stranding or sinking, as long as the cost of recovering the goods and making them marketable is greater than their value. If it is possible to recover the goods at costs lower than their value, then the insurance company pays for these costs kung magkano mabebenta. Sue and labor. The shipper will act the best interest of the insurance company when a loss occurs. The principle is that after a loss, the insured should protect the cargo from further damage as it would it had not been insured. In order to keep the loss to a minimum, the insurer will pay the cost of protecting the cargo. Inchmare clause, a clause which ensures goods are covered in the event of a burst boiler, broken propeller shaft, as well as errors in navigation and seamanship. Strike coverage. All standard policies include a clause called the Strikes, Riots, and Civil Commotion (SRNCC) clause in the American policies and Strike Exclusion clause in the Institute Maritime Cargo Policies, which excludes coverage of damage to cargo due to strikes and other civil disturbances. War and seizure. A clause that excludes coverage of damage to cargo due to war and war-like situation, such as the seizure of a ship by a foreign government or the accidental collision of the ship with a mine. American policies call this clause the Free of Capture and Seizure Clause. Some policies will add clauses to standard coverage, warehouse-to-warehouse coverage, an addition to policy which covers the goods from the time they leave the exporter's warehouse until the time they arrive at the importer's warehouse, or uh, or 15 days after they arrive in the port of destination, whichever occurs first. Difference in conditions. In addition to standard policy difference in conditions, coverage is designed to fill the gap between an importer would like to have covered under the open cargo policy and what is covered under its supplier CIF or CIP coverage. Other maritime policies. Hull insurance. Hull insurance is contracted by the ship owner to cover the risk of damage of the ship when it's involved in peril, such as grounding or fire. It also covers the owner in case of a complete loss, such as a sinking. This policy also covers the ship owner's liability toward the cargo owners in the case of general average. Protection and indemnity. Protection and indemnity (P&I) is another form of insurance for a ship owner. It is a protection against liability to other parties when a ship sinks or is damaged. In the last few decades, it has meant liability for oil spills, specifically cargo spills, but all ship fuel spills in the ocean and on beaches and their extensive cleanup costs. However, it also includes the ship owner's liability toward the crew, injury or death, or in repatriating stowaways. P&I insurance is provided by P&I clubs, group formed by ship owners to share their mutual liabilities. Air freight cargo policy. Air freight cargo policies mirror the coverage provided under Coverage A of the Institute Maritime Cargo Clauses, or provided by an all-risk policy. However, they exclude improper packaging, inherent bias, ordinary leakage, unairworthy aircraft, and nuclear war. Filing an insurance claim. There are several steps in filing a proper insurance claim: notifying the insurance carrier, protecting the damaged cargo, filing the claim, understanding care liability limits. The liability limits of care, both ocean and air, are significant and will be covered in the next chapters. Lloyd's of London. Although it is often considered an insurance company, Lloyd's of London is actually the oldest insurance market in the history of shipping. An insurance company makes a profit from the difference between large number of small premiums, its revenues, and a small number of large losses, its expenses. True Lloyd's insurance policy are written for risks that are uncommon or risks that do not generate a lot of premiums, and therefore traditional insurance company cannot operate their traditional business model. True Lloyd's companies that need a risk covered are placed in touch with syndicates or group of people who are willing to take that risk. Syndicates are made up of members who share the premium proceed if there is no loss, share the cost of the loss if there is a loss. A syndicate is therefore made of members who are wagering that loss will not occur. So they win when there is no loss and lose when there is one. Okay? Member of syndicate can either be bespoke names, individual with great wealth who join a syndicate to add to their investment portfolio. Corporate members, corporation that join syndicate to increase their diversification strategy. Bespoke names have the distinct characteristics of having unlimited liability and all their personal asset for the risk that the syndicates undertakes. Corporate members have limited liability. Because of these characteristics, syndicates are increasingly constituted of corporate members. So credit insurance, I think I also explained this in the previous lesson. International commercial transactions include their own risk, commercial risk. The risk presented by customer defaulting on its obligation to pay for whatever reason. For example, a customer encounters financial difficulties or has complained about the product and withhold payment. Political or country risk, the risk presented by the country in which transaction takes place. For example, the government raises tariffs, freezes account of foreign currency, or the country does something to cause other countries to institute an embargo against them. Credit insurance, commercial and political credit risk can be managed in the same manner as transportation risk. So we have to retain the risk, transfer the risk, follow mixed strategy of retaining of the risk and transferring others. Credit insurance through US programs, Export Import Bank, Exim Bank. Its mission is to help create jobs in the United States by supporting export sales. It offers political credit insurance and loan guarantees. Overseas Private Investment Corporation or OPIC, its purpose is to encouraging private investment in developing countries. OPIC offers several programs of loans, political insurance, and private equity investment fund. Small Business Administration (SBA). SBA has programs designed to help exporters finance sales abroad, working capital loans and long-term loans for capital investment. And for our last slide, credit insurance private companies products. Foreign Credit Insurance Association or the FCIA. FCIA offers products that combine the Exim bank's political insurance coverage and commercial credit insurance products. Lloyd's. Certain Lloyd syndicates have added coverage of political risk to their underwriting portfolio and present the advantage of offering insurance for countries for which the United States government will not provide any, such as Afghanistan, Albania, or Belarus. So basically, doon nag-engage yung mga Lloyds. Private insurance companies such as Euler ACI and Cofase offer commercial credit insurance policy. Okay, so basically that ends our lesson. Thank you for listening.